They say you don't gotta go home, but you can't stay here. And no, I don't wanna be.
This is CryptoTube. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are looking at Monero. Monero is the 13th largest coin by market cap, and it was first established back in April of 2014, so has quite a lot of history behind it as well. It's considered by many to be the most private coin out there, and we're going to explore some of that today and try and understand some of the protocols behind it that enhance its privacy. So Monero, ticker XMR. So current stats then, market cap just under $1 billion, 24-hour trading volume of over $179 million. So it goes to show there is people using this on a regular basis and transacting using Monero fully privately. There's a circulating supply of 17.3 million coins at the moment. All-time high back in 2018 of $542. Current price now a tenth of that, $54, or roughly 720,000 Satoshis. So maximum supply, you may have seen that it was quoted as 18.4 million on quite a few places. However, this coin actually has an infinite supply. This is due to the fact it has tail emissions. So after 2022, when the final stage of block rewards, the tail emission kicks in, there will then be 0.6 Monero produced per block from then on out until the end of time. Obviously, this is a set number of coins coming into circulation every single year. It's roughly 157,000 new Monero coins that will be minted every year. But this is deflationary because every year the same amount of coins being generated on an ever increasing total number of coins means there's a deflationary effect. And it says, because of the dynamic block size, competition between miners will cause fees to decrease. If mining is not profitable due to a high cost and low reward, miners will lose their incentive and will stop mining, reducing the security of the network. Tail emissions ensure that a dynamic block size and fee market can develop. So that's from the Moneropedia page. And this is kind of a concern some people have with Bitcoin and its fixed infinite supply of 21 million. At the end of that period, when all coins have been minted, is there going to be enough incentive for all these miners to want to continue securing the network? And this is the answer from Monero to that. You need to have your tail emissions additionally as well to ensure that miners are incentivized. So this is an interesting quote about Monero from Daniel Kim. Monero is what Bitcoin noobs think they bought, which is fungible, digital, sound money. So a lot of people, when they got into Bitcoin, probably assumed they were buying a cash-like asset that was kind of untraceable, since your name's not directly linked to the address or your send and receive addresses, and you would have some kind of anonymity going forward. But it's been proven that you are traceable. Bitcoin addresses are traceable. If you look at, for example, Silk Road, if you look at a number of high court cases to do with, I think, sex trafficking and things like this that have actually been found. They found the individuals behind these rings via using Bitcoin addresses. And obviously, as technology advances, and there are companies out there, private companies, who spy on crypto addresses and try and track people like that. Obviously, we're not that private, and we're not able to ensure our funds are not known by other people and potentially bad actors. So the main components of Monero are that it's private, transactions are untraceable, it's fully decentralized, there was no ICO and no pre-mine. So these are the kind of backbones that create Monero, its project. There's no central figurehead to Monero. There are a distributed number of developers contributing to the code all over the world, and there's a really big community as well behind Monero, and a lot of interest in this coin, I must say. So each year, Monero also has 2 hard forks. The idea of having these hard forks is to ensure the network is secure and stable. So for example, what they do is they have ASIC resistant algorithms. Obviously ASIC miners can dominate a market for certain coins, as we know, as you've seen with Bitcoin. So they were previously using Crypto Night, and as of the 30th of November 2019, which is actually tomorrow, they're moving over to the Random X algorithm. So this is another ASIC resistant algorithm, prevents obviously centralization and the likelihood of that 51% attack being able to occur. RandomX is also CPU centric. This means that we can mine it from our home computers, and it is expected to be 3 times more profitable to use a CPU over a GPU as well. So we can all mine it. We can therefore also, there's low barriers to entry for mining this coin, and there's no real distinct advantages between, let's say myself or my next door neighbor from mining it on our home computers. We're going to get similar kind of outputs. So how private is Monero then? So what does it do? So for any Monero transaction, you can't actually see who sent it. You can't see how much was sent either, and you can't see who received it. So all links in the chain for any transaction, sender, receiver, amount, these are all obfuscated via different protocols that we're going to dip into right now. And this is something you can't turn off. For Monero, it's permanently private. All these features are running, they're baked into the coin. Unlike other privacy coins, when you have opt-in options, for example, on Zcash. So this is the first protocol we're going to look at. So this is how the receiver is kept private, and it's through stealth addresses. So stealth addresses means that any transaction on the Monero network are done with unique one-time use stealth addresses designed to obfuscate a transaction's destination. So what you'll see on a block explorer, that actual address is just a stealth address. So it's created as a one-off. The sender will send funds. The stealth address is then transmitted. Then the receiver can see the stealth address, but their private key will be able to actually open up that transaction and take the coins as required. Second up, then we have the ring signature. So the sender remains private via this protocol. So it mixes the sender's transaction with other spendable transaction inputs on the network, and the observer can then not determine who sent the transaction. So in the top part of the diagram, we can see a normal payment where we've got an ordinary signature, Alice sending over to someone else. And then down below, we actually have a similar outlook where Alice is sending her funds, her Monero coins, but this time the signatures are actually jumbled with other spendable transactions on Monero. So these could be previous transactions that have taken place. It will take these signatures and mix them up. And currently there are 11 signatures. That's the 11 size signature ring that is used. So your transaction will be mixed with 10 other random ones, and therefore you have plausible deniability if someone says, was this you that received X amount of funds in Monero? And there's no way of being able to tell who out of those 11 ring signatures, who out of the 11 signatures the actual transaction belongs to. So this is how it actually mixes them all up and obfuscates the addresses. And then the amount actually sent per transaction is hidden as well. So ring CT, or ring confidential transactions, hides the amount of Monero in each transaction by applying a range proof mathematical function to the transaction. Observers of the blockchain can verify the validity of the XMR transferred but only the sender and receiver are able to see the actual amount transferred. So you can't actually see the numbers involved. What you'd see on the blockchain isn't a representation, it's just a number. And then finally, so this is an item on their roadmap called CoVR, and this implementation should be coming soon. It's been on the roadmap for some time and been developing for a while now. But what this will do, this will eliminate the possibility of being able to target IP addresses. So it would be possible to see, obviously with a lot of resource, this would be quite time consuming, but to factor in whose IP was actually transmitting the addresses. And obviously over time, you could then put together a picture of, okay, this person must have a Monero wallet. This person's obviously sending funds. But what they're bringing out is this technology, and it will actually obfuscate the IP address of the sender. And as it says, currently an IP address could be tracked. So what it will do, it will reroute your transaction through multiple nodes and then obfuscate the IP address. So that is coming in the roadmap and hopefully will be enabled in 2020. At which point, essentially all parts of a transaction, including where it's been sent from, physically your IP address, all of those linkages in the transaction will become private. So that is technically how it works, how Monero keeps everything private, and it does a really good job of maintaining users' privacies, more so than other coins. And I think this is going to be a concern for a lot of people going forward when they realize, obviously, they could be tracked. Their crypto assets can be tracked. Monero is the one that's leading the way with the privacy fight back. So I think it's going to have quite a lot of interest in the future. Let's just take a look at some of the price data. So this is the Monero to BTC full whack of data here. And as you can see, Monero currently very much in a pullback, massive dip. The price has actually retraced, I think, around from all-time high down to here. We're talking around an 80% retracement, so pretty large indeed. We've got the 50-day moving average here, 200-day moving average just down here. And if we just zoom into some of the recent lines, and I've put on here the orange dotted line is my alert level, which hasn't been triggered yet, around 760,000 Satoshis, as this has been a recent area where we've had some resistance. And I think once it can actually break that resistance, we might see it pop up quite considerably to possibly the next line of resistance, which is probably around here somewhere at around 840,000, 850,000 Satoshis. So there could be some good opportunities to actually trade this coin going forward. And that's what I'm looking out for at the moment. And I've got that trade alert on there. But as you can see, it's been rejected from around this price level around 4 times over the last month and a half. So we'll continue to monitor this. But at this price level, obviously with an 80% pullback from that all-time high, this coin has use. People are going to want to use Monero in the future. I don't think that's in any doubt. So at this price level, I'm looking at it thinking I should start to average in and maybe start to have a small holding in this coin over the next few months or so. Follow the price if I can produce some good trades off it as well in this like kind of channel area here between these two areas of resistance. I will do so. But privacy is something I think is going to be key. At the moment, it's not the flavor of the month. And obviously, we don't want to be getting into the coin while it's up here. We'd rather get into the coin when it's down here. Unlikely for it to go much lower. It's seen a bottom of around 630,000 Satoshis and then pick back up and gain support around there a few times. So obviously, if it does drop down into that range again, We'll see if it tests that bottom, but I'm pretty confident that in the future this coin could be worth quite a lot of money, because as people realize Bitcoin's not that private, as wealthy people want to actually hide the amount of money that they've got. Obviously there will be some criminal activity, and that is one of the black marks against it that a lot of people put forward, but any currency is used by criminals. But obviously there's going to be a market for this, and there's always going to be demand for it. And Monero being one of the first coins of its type and a market leader in a way, 13th on CoinMarketCap, I think it's always going to have that presence and going to be one of the go-to privacy coins. Recent news, we've seen this, BitPay to terminate Monero trading support. So this has come in conjunction with a few other exchanges that are kind of bowing in the way of regulation. They seem to be getting a bit scared. So BitPay's dropped Monero, and also it has been dropped recently as well by OKX and Upbit. So 3 exchanges have delisted it recently. So I see this as a short-term issue in terms of it's not good for the reputation around the coin right now. People are going to not look at it favorably and see it as a investment opportunity at this point. But this isn't going to stifle Monero and what it's doing at all. This goes to show that if these exchanges are actually dropping the currency, it must really be private, because there's obviously concerns that they can't track us. And a lot of the cryptocurrencies are being used to track us. There's no doubt about that. So the fact that they're scared of Monero just goes to show that the technology really does work, and it must be rather cutting edge. So in terms of my final thoughts for Monero, it's pulled back hugely from its all-time high. It's now in a position where price-wise, I think it would be a good time to average in. It's one that, from doing research, I've realized the importance of privacy even more so than before, and how we should all be able to conduct ourselves in a private manner as we see fit. And just by using a privacy-based coin doesn't mean that we're all criminals. It's nice to have that anonymity when operating online. So I don't think anyone who uses Monero is a bad actor. I think it just shows that you're concerned about the way things are going in general. So you want to keep yourself, at arm's length from bad people. In terms of the market at the moment then, so I think privacy coins seem to be getting a bit of a bad rap at the moment, but this is probably due to the pressure of regulators and governments who don't want privacy coins around. At some point in the future, privacy coins will become flavor of the month once again, and we'll see the price of them pop and I think really take off. There's some good interviews that I've watched recently. I'll leave the description to which down below in the description, because I've watched some really good interviews of people who are massively bullish on Monero and talk about it being potentially the #1 or #2 cryptocurrency going forward. And when you listen to the arguments, you can kind of understand where they're coming from and how big privacy is going to be. And you've also got people like John McAfee who are continually pumping Monero and saying that it is the only true cryptocurrency that is private. So make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Drop me a comment down below of what you like about Monero. Do you think it is the best privacy coin out there? Are there better alternatives? Let me know your thoughts and feelings towards this, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.